So much for your time. Thank you so much for your generosity. Give it up for yourselves for coming out on Thursday night. I am Alvin. I'm the MC this evening. And if you don't know where you're at, you just walked in here and you're confused. This is a fundraiser put on by the LGBTQ plus community to re-elect our friend and ally, District 5 Supervisor Dean Preston. So our very first speaker of the night is the legendary Tenants Right organizer. She is a former executive director of San Francisco Housing Rights Committee and also former director of policy for Community Housing Partnership, now known as Home Rights. Please welcome to the stage, Sara Shortt.
I'll be your requisite lesbian here tonight. Thank you. Okay, so I was invited here to talk about Dean's record of support for tenants. But I kind of feel like just coming up here and going, duh. But I will do what I was asked. I ran the Housing Rights Committee for many years. I've been kind of involved in the tenants' rights and right control struggle for feels like ever. At any rate, so I worked with Dean closely and also watched him from afar. I'm just here to like vouch for his 100%, like literally, well, more than that really, but impeccable record on tenants' rights and rent control. And like I said, it's just like so fucking obvious that it's hardly me saying, but yeah, I'm gonna say it because Tab asked me. You know Tab? He will not stop calling. I'm just gonna tell you why I say that. And like I said, I think I don't know how long I've known you, but like again, a million years, you know. And so I worked with him when he was a tenants' rights attorney, stopping evictions during, one of the hardest times with gentrification, Ellis Act evictions, ravaging our city. And then he went off and just like created this statewide organization for tenants that we had never had the likes of before, and was just so powerful doing that, and then here it is still today, doing so much work for tenants across the state. And of course, that benefits us in San Francisco. And then, the right to counsel law, can we prop that? And then of course, once he actually got into office, he's just always thinking about tenants. He's thinking about how to strengthen and expand rent control. He's thinking about how to preserve rent control. I would imagine he dreams about it.
Please welcome to the stage my dearest friend, Aguilar.
Hey y'all. Hi. So you just gave out like half of my, speech in my head, right, to qualify who I am. Yes, I am a fourth generation native San Franciscan. I grew up in this district. HIV, Dean gets it. Dean gets that there's a whole generation of us who were never planned for being here in San Francisco. They never planned for somebody with HIV becoming geriatric. And the needs that are coming up are quite large. One of them, of course, housing. 1 in 6 people with HIV in San Francisco is either homeless or at risk for losing their housing. Dean gets it. Dean is one of the few people who has actually met with the HIV community. When I was the chair of the caucus, we invited a certain member of the board who is out about their HIV status. I won't name names. But not once have they met with anybody from the HIV community. In fact, they've attacked the San Francisco AIDS Foundation for not being a good partner regarding that. Unacceptable. Dean has been there for so many budget asks, I can't even tell you. He's actually called the city out when we secured 2 years ago, $3.3 million for HIV prevention services. And then the services never showed up. And there was Dean asking them, where are these access points? Where is the help that you say you're giving the city? Dean also, through redistricting, gained part of the city that has most of the people living with HIV in the Tenderloin. A lot of these people are the most vulnerable in the city, especially those of us aging with it. 50%, over 50% of people with HIV in San Francisco are over the age of 50. In fact, it's 74%. Now, you take that with 1 in 6 at risk of losing housing, you've got a crisis there. Dean gets it. He's always been there for our back. So we need to be there for him, because he has been a bastion of strength for us, our support. He also understands the concept of social housing, something the city doesn't get. It's something that can be replicated in the city. We're trying to get him over to Marty's place, to come have lunch, but he's got a busy schedule. But it is a concept that could actually help a lot of communities in the city with housing. So I just have to say, with all of my heart, support Dean financially. If you can't do that financially, come out and do some lit drops for him, campaign for him. He represents to me, I grew up in the hate after the hippies and through the 70s. To me, it's the heart of San Francisco. It's where the spirit of it is. Dean represents that because it's other people.
Woo! Thank you, Paul. Once again, just a reminder to scan the QR codes that are sort of everywhere. They're on the wall, they're on the table. Scan those QR codes and make sure to make a donation today. Now, we are most honored to have the presence and inspiration of the absolute Empress 56 of the Imperial Court of San Francisco. Recently celebrated for 30 years of drag at the San Francisco Art Commission main gallery, she raised over $1 million for local charities. The speaker continues to shine light and offer support to those who have been overlooked for far too long. With high glamour, drag irreverence, and danceable beats, I am so honored to welcome to the stage the legend, Juanita Moore!
Thank you, you're very sweet. Thanks for having me, Dean, I appreciate it. It was lovely to see most of you, as I like to always say. I've been in San Francisco doing drag for 30 years. About 10 years ago, I decided to create a housing group on Facebook, because I kept running into people who would whisper in my ear in the middle of the night, I need a roommate, somebody just moved out, or I'm looking for a place. And so I decided to create this group. We're now at over 14,000 members, which is insane. But I think the most important thing that happens with the group is that I, as one of the administrators, am the one who's accepting people to be in the group. There's a lot of rules to join my group. They're simple. You got to say, who is your favorite drag queen? You would think everyone would say it was me, right? Well, that is not what they do. But what I am seeing right now is a huge influx of people coming to San Francisco from all across the country. And they're coming here because they're either running away from something, being pushed out of their city. So housing in San Francisco is very important, and I want to thank you, Dean, for caring about people and our housing and our community. Thank you very, very much. I have a lot of notes here, Dean, but I'm going to be honest with you. The other two speakers said a lot of the stuff I have on my notes.
Sorry.
So I think one of the most important things we need to remember tonight is to get out and volunteer. Volunteering for me is probably one of the most important things that, sorry, I don't know why I keep going out, that we need to do. I do so many events in the city, and I do it with the help of people volunteering to help me do it. Otherwise, it wouldn't get done. So we need to help Dean get reelected. That's what I want you all to do for me. Thank you. Thank you, Juanita.
All right. Now we get to hear from the person who brought us all here today. He's one of the few people at City Hall who we can consistently count on. Someone who authored San Francisco's Tenant's Right to Counsel ordinance before even getting into office. And once barely in office, he boldly confronted the pandemic head-on, producing an eviction moratorium and securing $40 million for rent relief. He has defended HIV funding, helped move hundreds of unhoused people into permanent quarters, and has championed overdose prevention sites. He is making our streets safer with community ambassadors, has pushed for greater police accountability, and has restored meeting lines that were canceled during the pandemic. Please welcome the truly amazing, the man of the hour, Supervisor Dean Preston.
Thank you all so much. Yeah, thank you. It's really, this is unbelievable. First of all, we got to put our hands together for the most unbelievable organizer I know, who did so much work to put this on, and that is the amazing Tab Buckner.
Yeah!
You know, I see some people around who, like, I've been calling them a bunch during call time, and they don't call me back. But somehow Tab Buckner calls them. They take the call, they donate, and they show up at the fundraiser. I'm just saying. So Tab has the magic card. Thank you for bringing us all together, Tab. And I'm very moved by Sara and Paul's words and Juanita, and it's just, thank you so much for being here, for your support, Juanita, and Paul and Sara. Let's talk for a couple minutes about what is at stake, and speakers before me have talked about this. Like, what is at stake in this race, and what are we doing, and why is it that these billionaires and these online trolls and these people sitting in their basements in Texas have taken such an interest in what is happening in our corner of San Francisco here in District 5. It's worth thinking about that, right? Like, why is that? And what seems to piss a lot of people off is the idea, and I don't mean people in this room, and I don't mean voters, but what seems to piss a lot of these very big money tech oligarch types and real estate mega landlords, mega developers, what is it that's really pissing them off at its core? And it is the idea that poor and working class people exist in this city. Right? So when you get announcements of curfews, when you get homeless sweeps, when you get the latest proposals to slash corporate taxes, the budget attacks on all the things Paul was talking about, and all the things that so many people in this room advocate for, those are all attacks on people who are poor or working class and who are trying to survive in this city. And the message that we, and I say we as anyone who is progressive, left, whatever you want to call it, have for these folks who think they have an exclusive right to this city because of their wealth, is that the working class people of San Francisco, so many, are still here and are not going anywhere, right? If we have our way. And that is fundamentally what this fight is about. And it is about whether this continues to be a city of refuge, a city where people who are not accepted in their countries, in their cities, can come here and thrive and survive and pay an affordable, rent and have a rent control place. And does that exist? Or are we going to end up with their vision? And they have a vision. And this is something that, people, I think our media has failed to recognize, and a lot of times we don't talk about. People say, oh, well, these billionaires are trying to buy the city. And, that's true, and I think at a gut level, we know that's not good. But it's important to understand why they're trying to buy the city, what they are trying to accomplish. They are trying to eliminate affordable housing in the city. They are trying to abolish rent control. They are fundamentally libertarian unless it's big corporate interests asking for government help. Everyone else is not supposed to be protected by any government help regulations. They want to eliminate taxes on the wealthy. They want to make sure that only market forces drive housing in San Francisco and that there's no room for social housing, public housing, subsidized housing, or rent-controlled housing, co-ops, or land trusts, right? They just want another round of luxury housing for well-off people and real estate investors to invest in, right? They deeply resent the idea that we pushed forward as a community during the pandemic of government intervention to help people when they're in need, right? And how do we do it, and why does it piss them off so much? Because we taxed the hell out of them during the pandemic, right? And they're fine, they're doing fine. And I want to say when we put together the idea of doing Proposition I in 2020, which was to double the transfer tax on properties that sold that are over $10 million. It's like, wow, why are you doubling it? Why don't you just, all the prior changes were like, raise it 0.25%, that'll raise like $30 million. We're like, no, we're just gonna double it. It's gonna raise hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And then you had people saying, well, they start running ad campaigns against it about the poor mom and pop small business. I'm like, find me a small business who is selling a $10 million property. I don't think Nick Parker and Imperial have like $10, $50 million properties they're selling every day, right? So, but the reality is, the reality is, so what did we do? We doubled their tax. It's raised over $300 million intended for social housing and rent. We were told nobody will vote for taxes during a pandemic. And we completely blew that idea up with Prop I, with Prop L, the tax on the excess CEO pay. We have multiple taxes on the ballot, Prop J that the teachers had, they all passed. Interesting, right? All the political pundit types, you can't do a tax in a pandemic, no one will vote for it. And the voters in San Francisco are like, yeah, we can tax billionaires and multi-billionaires. That does not bother us, right? And so if you look at the rage with which these, online trolls and billionaire PACs the rage they have, it's not because things aren't working in San Francisco like they like to say. There are definitely things broken in this town. I just asked Robin Levitt over here why we don't have housing on Parcel K, 2 blocks away, affordable housing site, and you will understand, sign his petition, you will understand what's broken in this town, and mayor is blocking affordable housing in Hayes Valley. But fundamentally their complaint and their rage is not the stuff that's not working in San Francisco. There's plenty of those things. We're all in this room trying to work on those things. Their rage is a billionaire backlash against things that were working during a global pandemic and that we should be leaning into and continuing. So what am I talking about? We housed thousands of people who were homeless in hotel rooms during the pandemic. Right? We acquired the Oasis Inn for homeless families during the pandemic. We taxed the rich and generated tens of millions of dollars, assisting over 20,000 San Franciscans during the pandemic, right? We banned evictions during the pandemic. We have the lowest rate of any city in California of evictions. We raised the most rent relief money of any city anywhere locally to prevent evictions and displacement during a pandemic. We provided free, unconditional health care regardless of your immigration status, regardless of your health insurance status, to people who had COVID. We did testing, we did vaccines, right? We were doing things that a healthy, functioning society would do because we had a federal government finally investing in our community, but also because we taxed the rich to fund all this stuff, and the voters said loud and clear, we're going to continue taxing the rich and continue doing it. So that's where the rage and the attacks on San Francisco come from. They come from the reality, which is that there is an appetite in this city, reflected in this room, to actually solve problems with things that work, instead of just giving another $50-100 million to the police department every time we have a problem in this city. There's an appetite to do that, to tax the rich to fund these programs. They know that, and that's why they're investing so much in defeating those of us who are championing, with all of you, real solutions here in San Francisco. So thank you so much for being part of this movement. Thank you for your support. I know others will tell you, but if you haven't yet, come knock doors with us. Come donate. And thank you, Alvin, for being an amazing MC. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Nick, Sara, the whole team here. And thank you to this amazing band that played before we were all given the mic. Thanks so much.